The petition for the Kathleen Kennedy approved Acolyte show has reached its goal, but what exactly does that mean for Kathleen Kennedy, or does she really care about it at this point? Welcome back to Views with Hughes, your gender-free news. This is Jerome Hughes. Now, let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, apparently it's time to celebrate, at least according to a certain group of fans who, despite the overwhelming failure of the Kathleen Kennedy approved the Acolyte, think they can still make a difference. Now, it's all connected to Kathleen Kennedy. That's right. Kathleen Kennedy continues to be, at the center of this particular saga. And even though Kathleen Kennedy's leadership has driven the Acolyte, into the ground and stuff, but a group of fans out there who remain loyal to, the whole Kathleen Kennedy show have raised $2,200 through a GoFundMe campaign in an attempt to save the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy. Yes, you heard that correctly. 50 donations were made, all aimed at trying to resurrect a show failed under Kathleen Kennedy's watch. Now, I'm pretty sure that you all are thinking this, what in the world are they doing, right now? You'd be right to ask that, because Kathleen Kennedy has overseen this failure after these people was raising $2,200 for a project under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership is laughable, and it's shocking how they think this will make any difference for the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy. Now, if anything, it highlights how out of touch Kathleen Kennedy's fan base has become under her reign. So, what exactly is this money supposed to accomplish? Trying to get the Acolyte back. Where is it going, and how is it going? How in the world is going to supposed to save a project that's already failed and canceled? By the approval of Kathleen Kennedy. Now, under Kathleen Kennedy, they've raised the $2,200 for the show, and they claim that it's going to save the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy. But here's the thing. The Acolyte was a flop, just like so many other projects under Kathleen Kennedy. Now, it didn't get the ratings, it didn't get the fan support, and frankly, it didn't even deliver anything close to what we expected from Star Wars, or at least Disney Star Wars, all thanks to Kathleen Kennedy. Yeah, these Acolyte fans believe that $2,200 can somehow reverse all the damage done by Kathleen Kennedy. But look here, when you're dealing with, a fan base molded by Kathleen Kennedy, logic tends to go out the window, okay? But instead of helping real world causes, they're simply throwing money into the void, trying to save a show that Kathleen Kennedy already failed to lead effectively. Now, this is just another example of how Kathleen Kennedy's influence has led the fans astray, okay? And here's where it also gets really good. I mean, really interesting. When someone suggests that a more practical use for the money, like the response from Kathleen Kennedy's full fan base, is kind of predictable. Don't tell me what to do with my money. Now, this is entitlement. This entitlement is the hallmark of the culture that Kathleen Kennedy has created. Now, they rather just go ahead and fund a lost cause under Kathleen Kennedy than to actually do something productive. And you know what? I respect the hustle, but maybe I should start my own campaign or something and ask Disney to go ahead and bring back a different show and stuff. Not the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy, of course, but just taking a page right out of Kathleen Kennedy's book. Now, how absurd is this really? But these fans, they definitely live in it seems like they're living in a fantasy world, but much like Kathleen Kennedy. And they honestly think that $2,200 is going to change the fate of a show that couldn't even survive under Kathleen Kennedy. But to put things in perspective, it costs around $188,000 for a minute for production for the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy. So what is $2,200 really going to do except demonstrate how out of touch Kathleen Kennedy's fan base is? Now, they claim that it's going to be used for billboards, but even that doesn't make sense. But the average cost of a billboard is between $400 and $5,000, meaning they can't even afford a decent one under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership. Or, well, I won't say Kathleen Kennedy's leadership, but to get the show back out there and everything. But here's the kicker. They're saying this money will be used for digital billboards in Times Square. Now, they believe they have a few digital billboards to bring back the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy, and they'll get, a 1-day digital billboard ad later this month, an 11-day ad in November, and then a 4-day ad in December, all aimed at getting people to stream the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy. Now, what's more is that they think that this will pressure Disney and Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy to renew a series that failed because of Kathleen Kennedy. And it's like they believe a few billboards can undo the years of mismanagement by Kathleen Kennedy. But at the same time, let me just go ahead and be clear. The context here only makes things worse. You see, this campaign is not about saving the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy. It's another symptom of the failures that's tied to the company, and Disney didn't even properly market the show. And now these fans think that a billboard in Times Square will certainly spark interest in something that Kathleen Kennedy couldn't even market to begin with. Now, quite frankly, this is actually absurd, and I don't even use that word to think that, Kathleen Kennedy and her failures can be reversed with a few ads. Now, this is what happens when fandoms become as, misguided as the leadership of Kathleen Kennedy. Instead of just simply recognizing that the Acolyte, which was approved by Kathleen Kennedy, failed because it wasn't good, they're throwing money at a lost cause. You see, they don't see that the root of the problem lies with Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm and Disney Star Wars, and a complete mismanagement of the franchise. Now, if the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy had been a quality show, it wouldn't even have to be saved, because it would have been having another season 2. But Kathleen Kennedy's track record speaks for itself, and no amount of fans donations would ever change that. But let's make one thing crystal clear, though. There's nothing wrong with liking a show, even a bad show under Kathleen Kennedy. There's nothing wrong with, being a fan of something that's, basically unpopular. But these fans right here are simply out of touch with reality, just like Kathleen Kennedy herself. And they believe that $2,200 is going to pressure Disney into reviving this show that came from Kathleen Kennedy. Now, simply put, it's delusional, but that's what happens when Kathleen Kennedy is at the helm. So what exactly do? They raise this tiny amount of money, convinced that, it'll make a difference, and they'll spend it on digital billboards and stuff that no one will care about, all to try to get people to stream a show that failed miserably under Kathleen Kennedy. Now, if they really wanted to help the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy, they could have used that $2,200 to buy Disney Plus subscriptions for people and force them to watch it. But instead, they're simply wasting it on ineffective marketing, which is basically fitting given how ineffective Kathleen Kennedy has been at running Star Wars, or at least Disney Star Wars while at that. But let's not forget this, people. These are probably the same fans who targeted YouTubers like Neurotic and RK Outpost for demonetization, because we dared to criticize Kathleen Kennedy. Now they're out raising money for a show that's already dead, thanks to Kathleen Kennedy's mismanagement. Now, the irony is just almost too much to handle. But you want to know what would have saved the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy? Simply put, good writing, compelling characters, and a story that resonates with the fans. But guess what? Kathleen Kennedy gave us more of the same tired, woke nonsense that's been dragging down the franchise for years. Now, it's no wonder that the show from Kathleen Kennedy didn't succeed, but these fans just simply can't accept that. And just like Kathleen Kennedy can't accept responsibility for her own failures. Now, with this whole GoFundMe raising, $2,200, they're just claiming that this will help promote the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy. Well, best wishes with that, but if anything, it's just going to be more embarrassing when nothing changes and the show from Kathleen Kennedy stays canceled, okay? And these fans, much like Kathleen Kennedy, can't seem to grasp that no amount of billboards would be bringing back a show that couldn't succeed in the first place, all right? It's just basically the signature delusion right there. But this is what happens when fans refuse to accept reality, just like Kathleen Kennedy. They throw money at a failed show, hoping that it somehow will come back. But that's not how it works at all. You see, if the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy had been a good show, it wouldn't need saving, like I said earlier. No amount of billboards, fan donations, or marketing gimmicks will actually change that, even if it came from Leslie Hadley. And with Kathleen Kennedy at the helm, this is just one more failure in a long list of them. Now, honestly put, it's simply time for these fans to realize that throwing $2,200 at a dead show is not going to bring it back, okay? What would have saved the Acolyte under Kathleen Kennedy is simple. It needed to be a good show, and Kathleen Kennedy needed to be a better leader, if you ask me. But Basically, that's all there's to it. But as long as Kathleen Kennedy is in charge, then this kind of failure basically is inevitable. So let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to include any additional thoughts you may have this particular topic. If you enjoyed what I shared in this video, go ahead, smash the like button, share far walk for all social media. And if you haven't done so already, you enjoyed all the content that I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Click the bell notification so that way you be notified of future uploads and updates. Till then, peace.